Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to this Week 11 edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, and a rare appearance from Michael Bullock. Michael Bullock here with us this evening as well. So, without any further ado, gentlemen, let's get into the action that is going to go down this Week 11 of the college football season. 3 top 25 games canceled because of COVID, including a big one with new number one Alabama and LSU that was slated to be the SEC on CBS, but unfortunately COVID put the kibosh on that one. Number 3 Ohio State at Maryland, that's now been postponed, and number 12 Georgia and Missouri. All 3 of those games will not be played because of COVID. So let's get to the games that will be played. We only have 14 on the docket. So let's dive right on into our first game of the week, which features which will be played tomorrow night, by the way. Tomorrow night over on ESPN2, the number 7 Cincinnati Bearcats, once again at home at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. They'll be hosting the Pirates of East Carolina. This will be over on ESPN2 tomorrow night with Jason Benetti, Andre Ware, and Rocky Boyman. Cincinnati opening up as a 27.5-point favorite here. And for good reason. Cincinnati is just overwhelming. After giving up 20 points to Austin Peay in the opener, the Bearcats have limited 5 conference foes, which includes high-scoring Army, SMU, and Memphis offenses, to a combined total of 50 points. East Carolina has a formidable offense, but would need a perfect game to upset Cincinnati. And I don't see it here. Cincinnati all day. They'll win in a rout, 42-17. Cincinnati all day. No doubt about this. So nothing more to say. MF, chalk up another easy one for Cincinnati tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I think Cincinnati is going to show why they've been really good this season, and I'm with you on that one, Florio. So yeah, I got Cincinnati as well. So Michael Bullock, it's all yours, my friend.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an easy one for Cincinnati. I mean, I just don't see how they can lose this game to East Carolina. So it's going to be Cincinnati all day. 41-17 is my final score. So let's move on to our next game, Florio.
Let me move on to the Saturday afternoon games, and we have 5 games that will be kicking off at noon. And this first one, oh boy, it's a big one. This will be, in my opinion, the number 2 game of the week, as far as I'm concerned. This will be high noon over on ESPN, and it will feature the number 9 Miami Hurricanes, the U, squaring off against the Virginia Tech Hokies at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia. And on the call for that one will be Roy Philpott with Kelly Stufer and Eric Wood. Virginia Tech opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Now, MF, I mean, Miami is the better team. We all know that. But the thing is, Virginia Tech, man, they had Liberty on the rope. They had the game won, but they called a timeout, and we all know how that ended.
Yeah, wow. Um, Look, I'm gonna say Vatek. That's one that's gonna eat them alive. I don't know how you bounce back or react after that kind of a loss, especially to a team like Liberty. Now you got Miami coming in. Miami's looking a lot better than they did, and they bounced back. You know, they got their butts kicked by Clemson not too long ago, and I truly believe that this is going to be. I think Miami's going to win the game. I think it's not going to be easy. I granted it'll be a hard, but I think Miami's going to win. So I think Miami will escape with a victory. Nothing more to say, Mike Bullock. I give it to you.
Yeah, yeah, that was a tough loss there for Virginia Tech. I mean, you said they had the match won, but unfortunately, it did not go so well when they took that timeout, and unfortunately, it came back to bite them in the rear end. So they're going to be motivated and they'll probably give Miami some fits, but I just think in the end, Miami's the much better team here. So I got them winning this one. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, I mean, what had happened was Liberty went for a field goal. It was blocked. Virginia Tech ran it all the way back for a touchdown. They thought they won the game. But prior to the snap, they called the timeout. And, well, we all know how that ended. And Liberty got another chance, and Liberty kicked the winning field goal, and Liberty pulled off one of the big upsets of the year, no doubt about it. So, Miami quarterback De'Ara King amassed 535 total yards and 5 touchdowns in a 44-41 win at NC State. That's an incredible line for sure, but this is the kind of game Miami usually loses. Yes, Virginia Tech's defense is average at best, but dual threat quarterbacks are often a problem for Miami. And Hendon Hooker, who beat the Canes last season, has 515 rushing yards in 5 games. Miami is relying on King to reverse the trend. I was going to go with Virginia Tech for the upset here, but after how they let that one get away from them last week and with how great Miami is, even though they're at home, Va-Tech is, I'm going to go with Miami 38-31, but don't be surprised if Virginia Tech wins that one. Don't be surprised. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. Our next matchup here, coming to you from the Big Ten, and it'll be over on ABC. It'll feature the number 10. Yes, they are now number 10, the Indiana Hoosiers, squaring off against the Michigan State Spartans at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. On the call for that one, it will be Dave Patch with Greg McElroy and Holly Rowe. Indiana opening up as a 7-point favorite. Michael Bullock, Indiana, UNMF, and all your fellow Michigan fans, you boys, you guys found out a whole lot about this Indiana team, and guess what, man? They're for real.
Yeah, this Indiana team, they're looking like the real deal in the early part of the Big Ten season, and unfortunately, I mean, Michigan may be finding out the hard way eventually, and all the other teams in the Big Ten, including the Ohio State. So, yeah, so I mean, Indiana, I mean, they should play really well here. I mean, Michigan State being at home, I mean, it's not going to really matter that much to me. Indiana is, I mean, they're proving that they could be a team that we could see in the Big Ten championship game, and who knows, maybe in a New Year's Six bowl game. I mean, it's a possibility, but yeah, they are proving that they are a team that nobody really wants to face right now. I mean, maybe, like I said, Ohio State would, but yeah, Indiana's proven right now that they are a team to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. So I got Indiana winning this one. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. I'm impressed. What else is there to say? I mean, when you hear Indiana and them in the top 10 of a poll, you would think it was basketball, but no, this is football, and they're number 10. That's how crazy the season is, guys. And what should we anticipate from Michigan State? I hope you know, because 7 turnovers and a loss to Rutgers, a vertical happy offense to upset Michigan, and a nightmarish 42-point beatdown at Iowa is awfully confusing. Indiana is the better team, but hey, maybe MSU decides to be competent this week. We'll see. But it's Indiana, no doubt about it, and they're going to keep this this magical run going. So Indiana wins 31-20. MF, I mean, I know once you saw the result against Michigan last week, you were like, oh my God, this team's actually for real.
I was more angry than anything else, and I think my comments on the chat said it all. Yeah, Indiana is for real. They're playing really good. But like you said, we don't know what Michigan State team we're going to get. Are we going to get the team that lost to Rutgers, got beaten down by Iowa? Or are we getting the Michigan State team that basically took it to Michigan, especially at home? I don't know. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when we think about it. But I'm gonna go with Indiana to win. But I'm not as convinced as you guys are about that because of Michigan State at home. Little dangerous. I'm just gonna say it as that. But Indiana wins. Florio, go.
All right. And we move on to our next game, and it will feature the new darlings of college football as of right now, the number 15 Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And they're going to be squaring off against the Troy Trojans at Veterans Memorial Stadium at Larry Blankley Field in Troy, Alabama. Not often we get to call that stadium, but here we are. This game will be over on ESPN2. And on the call for that one, I do believe it is John Schriffen and Renee Ngalia. Let me just check that to be doubly sure. Yes, John Schriffen, Renee Ngalia. They will be on the call. Coastal Carolina opening up as a 10-point favorite here. Troy relies heavily on the passing game for offensive production, which doesn't bode particularly well for an upset bid. Coastal Carolina has minimized the damage of opposing quarterbacks all year, ceding only 6.3 yards per attempt and 6 touchdowns. CCU should improve to 8-0 before a huge showdown with Appalachian State. Whoa. Now, then we're going to find out if this Coastal Carolina team is the real deal. So, nothing more to say. 34-21. Coastal Carolina should get by Troy, I think. So, nothing more to say. MF, can our new darlings do it again before they have their huge showdown with App State? Let's find out.
I agree. I think Coastal Carolina will get the job done. I think they'll do whatever they need to do. I'm not that high on Troy, but I do believe Coastal Carolina will get the job done and win it pretty handily. And like you said, that game against Appalachian State's going to be a make or break moment for them. So nothing more to say. And Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, this Coastal Carolina team, they are the new darlings of college football this season. I mean, yeah, Troy's got a good passing game, but I don't know how they are going to be able to contend with this Coastal Carolina team. But yeah, the big showdown against Appalachian State next week, this is where we're going to find out if this Coastal Carolina team is for real or not. So I got Coastal Carolina winning this one as well, so let's move on.
And speaking of teams that speaking of darlings of college football, we have another one, and it is we're going to get into the number 16 Marshall Thundering Herd, the Thundering Herd of Marshall. They will be back at home at Jones C. Edwards Stadium in Huntington, West Virginia. And they're going to be hosting the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. This game will be over on the CBS Sports Network. And on the call for this one, their A-team, Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, and a very dear friend of all of us, the beautiful Jenny Dell. Yes, another Jenny Dell sighting. She will be in Marshall along with Carter Blackburn and Aaron Taylor. Marshall, you may have recalled last week, MF and I had a lot of fun with this. Marshall was a 44.5-point favorite against UMass. Yes, they blew them out, but UMass covered the spread.
I told you!
41. They only lost by 41. 51-10 was the final score. Yes, they're sizable favorites, but not as sizable as last week. It's not 44.5. It's 23.5 this time. So 23.5 point spread. MF, I mean, UMass covered, but Marshall, man, here's another darling we need to watch for.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. Look, we talked about Marshall's lineage a little bit, saying how they haven't really been relevant since the Byron Leftwich days, but now they're starting to look like that team again, and they're doing really good. They're playing great lately. I even said that I didn't believe that they were going to cover it. I thought 44 was a little too high. This time I think they will cover. I mean, 23 is actually a better number. I like their chances on that one. So, yes, I'm going to go with Marshall to win. And I do believe they'll win by like at least 27, 28 points. So, that's my prediction. Marshall wins. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, not just the days of Byron Leftwich. Let's not forget when it comes to Marshall. Let's not forget another big name that came from Marshall.
Randy Moss.
Yep, you knew where I was going with it, Florio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they were good too when they had Randy Moss. So yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Marshall in the top 25, but yet here they are, and yeah, I got Marshall winning this one as well without a problem. So Florio, I give it to you.
All right, and oh yeah, that's right. We got to get to me on this one. Marshall, yes. Marshall has not allowed more than 17 points in any of its 6 games. It's baseless to suggest the Middle Tennessee defense that has surrendered 37.1 points a game can give an improving offense a real chance to stick with the herd. Sure, it might happen. College football is weird, but there's no evidence for it. Marshall rolls 45-17, so not much more to say there. Except let's now get into our final high noon game of the week. And it's a theme, gentlemen. Another college football darling we're going to talk about here. And it's the team that pulled off probably the upset of the week a week ago. The number 22 Liberty Flames. Yes, the Liberty Flames, now number 22. They moved up from 25 to 22. They'll be at home at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg, Virginia. And they are going to be hosting the Catamounts of Western Carolina. This game will be over on ESPN University. Matt Warner, Joe Jauch, and Emily Austin will be on the call for this one. And Liberty, this is probably the biggest spread of the week. I just want to make sure that this is the biggest spread of the week according to our docket here. Yes, it is. Liberty has the spread of the week, 32.5-point favorite for Liberty. So nothing really more to say on this. Michael Bullock, another game, another darling. This time we're talking about Liberty, number 22, fresh off their major upset against Virginia Tech last week. Can they keep it rolling? I'm sure they can. I mean, they're 32.5-point favorites.
Yeah, they'll definitely keep the ball rolling. But yeah, I mean, everybody was surprised with the Liberty went in and beat the Virginia Tech Hokies, even though they did get a little help from them with them calling that timeout. But yeah, Liberty going into this game with a lot of momentum, and I expect that momentum to continue. So I got Liberty winning this one, no problem, keeping their magical run going. So Florio, it is yours.
Absolutely. What else is there to say? I mean, but because of the pandemic, Western Carolina is playing its Southern Conference slate in the spring. This is the fall debut for the Catamounts, who finished 3-9 last year. Liberty, meanwhile, just defeated Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium 38-35. You know where this is headed. Easy win for Liberty, 48-14. Nothing more to say. MF, Liberty, keep it rolling.
Agreed. I think so as well. Liberty shocked the college football world. This was not supposed to happen. Even though Liberty's been great, even though Liberty has been underachieving, I think everybody would even admit going into Lane Stadium, going up against West Virginia versus Va Tech, there was no way Liberty was going to win that game. As a matter of fact, I even believe that Florio and myself called it a lock of the week, saying that we both thought that Vodtech was going to beat Liberty and that the Cinderella ride was going to be over for them. And boy, were we both wrong on that. So, yeah, Liberty definitely pulled off the upset of the season, and I think they'll keep that hot streak going. Give me Liberty to win. So, nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
Yes, indeed. And not much more to say here, guys, except let's now get into a rare 2 o'clock kickoff. And yes, gentlemen, another game and another darling that we're going to talk about. Oh, yeah. Here we go. The number 25, they're back in the top 25. The Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. They're coming in at number 25. And they are going to be hosting the Jaguars of South Alabama. And just give me a moment here while I look up some information here. This will be at Cajun Field, and it's in Lafayette. It's a Cajun Field, Lafayette, Louisiana. They'll be hosting South Alabama. You can find this game over on ESPN Plus, that ESPN Plus streaming service there, and on the call for that one, it will be Dan McDonald and Chris Leno, and Louisiana Lafayette opening up as a 15.5-point favorite. So I believe I start this one. So this is a strong test for Louisiana's pass defense, which has ceded only 6.2 yards per attempt this season. South Alabama wideouts Jalen Tolbert and Kawan Baker both have at least 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but the Jaguars have struggled on defense recently, giving a balanced Louisiana offense a clear advantage. Closer than you think, but I think Louisiana Lafayette will pull it out and get their winning ways going again. 27-20. Give me Louisiana Lafayette over a very game South Alabama team. So nothing more to say, MF. I mean, this was the first real darling of this season, Louisiana Lafayette. But they hit a small rough patch, but they're back in the top 25 again. So can they keep their momentum going?
I think they will. I think Louisiana Lafayette will bounce back, turn it around, and I do believe that they'll win. They'll win on Saturday. So yeah, Louisiana Lafayette wins. Bullock, go.
Yeah, I got the Raging Cajuns continuing to their winning ways. Even though, like you said, South Alabama will give them some fits, but in the end, the Cajuns will hold on. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
And gentlemen, we are moving on to what I strongly feel for this week is the game of the week, the main event. 3:30 kickoff over on ABC. The now number 2. Yes, that's right. You heard it. Number 2. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and they are going to be squaring off against the Boston College Eagles from Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill. ABC will have the game. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Todd McShay, and Molly McGrath, a homecoming for Molly McGrath because she is a former BC graduate, and Sean McDonough back in Boston. Rare appearance for him. You remember he used to do the Red Sox games back in the day. So, but nonetheless, there is no doubt about it.
Actually, you stand corrected, Florio. He actually does Red Sox games again, but on the WEEI Red Sox radio network.
So he is back in Boston. All right, nice to hear. So, definitely conjures up some memories. But anyways, number 2 Notre Dame at Boston College, hands down the game of the week for this smaller week here. So MF, a lot of storylines here to develop out of this one. Notre Dame, what can you say? I mean, a 5-star. Heck, I pulled a Dave Meltzer and gave it 6 stars last week. That 5-star Shakespearean drama classic, a game for the ages, a game of the century, if you will, against Clemson a week ago. They did the impossible. They got it done, 47-40 in double overtime at Notre Dame Stadium for a stampede, which we all know how much you and Scotty Van Pelt love. But you brought up a great point during our behind-the-scenes chat last night. 1993, they knocked off Florida State in a game of the century similar to that one. And Boston College was on the horizon. Boston College crushed their dreams. And you brought
prevented
it up.
them from playing for the national championship. They literally
I didn't want to think about it.
They cost Notre Dame the national championship in 1993.
They did.
Because
Indeed,
they were they were on their way to playing for the national title, and it actually helped Florida State and Nebraska, because those were the teams that ended up playing for the national title that year.
Indeed.
Which I believe, didn't Florida State win it all, or was it Nebraska that won it all?
I'll look. I will. I'm working on that right now, but I forgot to mention Notre Dame is opening up as a 13-point favorite. Notre Dame is a 13-point favorite, so we definitely want to get that out there. But MF, the big question here in this game of the week here, will it be 1993 all over again, or will this 2020 Notre Dame team be, as Derek Pereira said in his recap video last week, quote unquote, and I'm quoting him, a team of death? And I agree with it.
First off, they ain't no team of destiny. Get the F out of there with that. Number 2, I do believe Notre Dame will win. I do believe that they'll get the job done. I do believe they'll knock off Boston College. I think they got to be very leery. They got to be very careful. And they got to jump out early. The longer the game goes, the closer that it gets, you start giving Boston College opportunities. And if you do that, upset does happen, and we will have another 93 on our mitts. So, did they leave everything out on the field when they won that game against Clemson? If you're a Notre Dame fan, I hope they didn't. But I do believe that they'll have just enough. I'm going to say this. It will be closer than the experts have it. I think Notre Dame will only win by 7. I think Boston College is going to pound. They're going to try to give you guys an upset. They're going to give you fits for about 3 quarters. And then I think the defense for Notre Dame will stack up. They'll come out big, and they'll make a couple of stops at the end that's going to prevent Boston College from pulling the upset. 34-27, Notre Dame wins. Just be careful, Notre Dame. Do not let 93 haunt you, because remember, Boston College has done it to Notre Dame not once, but twice in their history. They've upsetted the Fighting Irish, but I think both times were in Notre Dame Stadium. I don't ever remember them knocking them off in Boston College. That's a different story if they pull this off. This will be even bigger because of the fact that Boston College is not as good as they were back in the day. And on top of that, it does have the feeling of it. Again, Notre Dame came off a big win over the number 1 and then dropped the next game. It could happen again. I'm not going to rule it out, but I do believe Notre Dame will get the job done. I'd say Notre Dame wins. So, Anthony, I guess you got that.
I just wanted, you were wondering who won that national championship. Florida State did.
Okay.
Florida State beat Nebraska 18-16 in the Orange Bowl.
That's right. That was a 5-star classic too. Before we had before USC versus Texas, that many people has said is the greatest national title game ever. This was the greatest national title game ever. Back in the day, I remember the 93 final. It was crazy. That was insane. What a game. What a game.
Don't forget real quick before we give it to Bullock. Let's not forget What about that Alabama Georgia overtime thriller?
Yeah,
Let's not forget that.
I remember that.
said that
we
was-
were there. We were there for that
We
national
said-
title game.
Yep. And we said, and you went on the record and said that was the greatest title game.
Yeah.
So, but I think in retrospect, those are the three greatest of all time. So that Florida State, Nebraska, the USC, Texas, and the Alabama, Georgia. So those are the three greatest. So, but we'll get into that another day. So MF, you have Boston, you have Notre Dame winning barely. So, Michael Bullock, let's get on to you now. Number 2 Notre Dame at Boston College, the game of the week. What are your thoughts, Bullock? Bullock, are you there? I think we might have lost him. So we'll just wait for him to come back. But for right now, yeah, there he goes. All right. Hold on. Oh, okay. Bullock heading out because of a personal reason. So all right, no worries. We'll I'm sure we'll have him tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But anyway, I'll take it here. Boston College has shattered most expectations in Coach Jeff Hafley's first year. BC took North Carolina to the wire, crushed Georgia Tech, and stuck with Trevor Lawrence-less Clemson to the finish. The Eagles, led by Notre Dame quarterback transfer Phil Jurkovec, play up to the competition. But I'm sticking with Notre Dame because the offense has performed well on key downs lately, but BC is a legitimate threat. Notre Dame most certainly should be on upset alert here. But I think Notre Dame will barely pull it out. I think it'll be another classic. Not quite as crazy as the Clemson game, but I think Notre Dame will eke this one out in Chestnut Hill. 30-24, Notre Dame escapes Boston College. So there's nothing more to say. Let's continue on here to our other 3:30 game, and this will be over on Fox. First half of a Pac-12 doubleheader, and it'll feature the now number 20 USC Trojans squaring off against the Arizona Wildcats. And this will take place at Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. This game will be over on Fox, and the A team will be on this call here. Gus Johnson, our boy, Mr. Gus Johnson, the legendary Gus Johnson, along with Joel Klatt and the All-American girl Jenny Taft. USC opening up as a 14-point favorite. So since Bullock has left for the night, we're gonna reset, and I'm gonna start off here. So let me see. All right. USC's main concerns are a shaky offensive line and run defense. While that combination will likely bite the Trojans eventually, Arizona's usual weakness, the secondary, is a dreadful fit opposite Keaton Slovis and an excellent group of USC receivers. I'm going with USC to win. I say USC will pull this one out. I'll say 38-28. USC beats Arizona in Arizona. So nothing more to say, MF. I mean, we saw it. USC in the Coliseum. I mean, they had major problems with Arizona State, but somehow, some way, they managed to pull off a 2-touchdown comeback late in the fourth and got it done.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm totally in agreement with you on this one, Anthony. I'm gonna go with USC as well. Not comfortable at all with them because of how they really spun the wheels for most of the night. So, but I do believe they'll get the job done. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and another rare kickoff time here. We are going to be we have a rare 5 o'clock kickoff. This next game will be a 5 o'clock kickoff, and I'll go as far as to call this the sleeper game of the week, in a sense. The number 23, Northwestern Wildcats. Yeah, Northwestern back in the top 25. They come in at number 23, and they're going to be heading to Purdue. They'll be facing the Purdue Boilermakers at Purdue Ross-Ade Stadium in Tippecanoe County, Indiana. And this one will be over on the Big Ten Network, and on the call for that one for the Big Ten Network, it will be Corey Provis, Anthony Haran, and Olivia Decker, the beautiful Olivia Decker. They will have it. Northwestern opening up as a 2-point favorite. MF, your Big Ten, I'm telling you. I mean, we got some surprising teams. I mean, Indiana at number 10, Northwestern at number 23, they're 3-0, and Purdue, they're 2-0. Imagine if Purdue actually pulls this off. Maybe we could see Purdue in the rankings next week.
Absolutely. This is not going to be an easy game, and Purdue is like you said, they've been surprisingly good at home. This is tough. This is probably the toughest game of the week because both teams have been playing great lately, but I gotta go with Northwestern. I don't know why. I just feel like they're the better team here. It's not an easy game. Not an easy game to call, but I do believe Northwestern is going to eke out the victory over Purdue, and it's going to be a tough game. This could be like a 4.5 star game, but it's going to be close. But I think Northwestern is going to eke it out by at least 7-10. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Purdue star Rondale Moore hasn't yet played. This preview feels a little different if he's available, but his status is becoming, quote unquote, we'll believe it when we see it. The Boilers lack a good rushing attack and might not be able to unlock a terrific Northwestern secondary without Moore alongside David Bell. I think Northwestern pulls it out as well. I think it'll be close for 3 quarters, but I think Northwestern will pull away in the fourth. 27-17, Northwestern knocks off Purdue. So nothing more to say. Let's get into the primetime games now. Only 4 left. And we have 3 7 o'clock games here. And we're going to start it off with the number 6, Florida Gators, back at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville. They're going to be hosting the surprising Arkansas Razorbacks. Here's another sleeper game of the week right here. This game will be over on ESPN. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Allison Williams will have it. Florida opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. So I'll take this one for a spin here. Had Georgia completed a couple of wide open downfield passes, that result might have changed. The problem was Kyle Trask left a razor-thin margin for error, leading the Gators to 44 points and lifting their season average to 42.4. Arkansas is more efficient than explosive, which gives Florida an edge in this SEC clash. But if Felipe Franks, a Florida transfer, can connect on some deep shots, he could swing the result in Arkansas's favor. Closer than you think. Don't sleep on this Arkansas team. This Arkansas team, in all honesty, should be 4-2, not 3-3. We all know why, that ridiculous Auburn finish. But nonetheless, Arkansas is going to give Florida fits, but I think Florida will pull it out. They'll eke this one out. 34-27, Florida barely gets by Arkansas. It's not going to be the cakewalk that everybody thinks it's going to be. So really nothing more to say. MF, Florida, big win for them. They beat Georgia. They manhandled Georgia for most of that outdoor cocktail party last week in Jacksonville. They're back at home, but they're going to have an above-average Arkansas team to deal with, which I think they need to take very seriously.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I think it's going to be I think Florida's going to really, they're going to have to earn this one. They're going to have to grind this baby out. But I do believe they'll get the job done. I do believe they'll win this game. There's really nothing more to add, Anthony. So yeah, it's all yours, my friend. I do believe Florida is going to win, but like you said, Arkansas is going to give them a hell of a time on Saturday.
Oh, they certainly will. There's no doubt about that. So we have 3 games left, and this next one's gonna come via the way of the Pac-10. I mean the Pac-12 rather, and just trying to find the info here. All right. It will be the number 11 Oregon Ducks squaring off against the Washington State Cougars from Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. This game will be over on Fox, and on the call for that one, it will be. I went a little too far there. All right. All right, here we are. Timmy Brando and Spencer Tillman, they will have the game. This will be over on Fox, and Oregon opening up as a 10-point favorite. So MF, Oregon, a shout out to our dear friend Eric Carrier, who's a huge Oregon fan, and Oregon picking up right left off. They knocked off Stanford, but they got a tough one against a game Washington State team.
They do. They got a tough one, no doubt. But I'm going to go with Oregon. I do believe that they'll get the job done. It's not going to be an easy game, but I do believe Oregon will win. So I got the Ducks. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, it's going to be Oregon, no doubt. Timely defense should determine this game, and the early advantage goes to Oregon. Washington State gave up 4 touchdowns and 4 red zone trips to Oregon State, but Oregon consistently held Stanford to field goal attempts. Although the Ducks landed an incredible string of luck with missed kicks, the bend don't break tendency is slightly more encouraging. Closer than you think, but Oregon will pull it out. 31-26. Oregon escapes over Washington State. So nothing more to say here. A couple more games left. Final 7 o'clock kickoff here, and this will be the number 19 SMU Mustangs squaring off against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane from Skelly Field at H.A. Chapman Stadium in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This game will be over on ESPN2, and on the call for that one, it will be Anish Shroff with Tom Luginbill and Ian Fitzsimmons. Let me double check that. Yes, Anish Shroff, Tom Luginbill, and Ian Fitzsimmons. They will be in Tulsa, and Tulsa opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. So yeah, Tulsa actually opening up as a 2.5-point favorite, but with all due respect, I disagree with that. SMU has done an excellent job of keeping the ball, giving up only 8 turnovers all season. Tulsa, on the other hand, has 11 takeaways in 4 games. As long as the Mustangs can avoid becoming part of that trend, they'll snag a valuable road win, but it will probably be uncomfortable late. This Tulsa defense is stingy. SMU, I believe, will eke this one out. 30-27. SMU gets by Tulsa. Nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts?
Okay. So what's the game, Anthony? I'm sorry. Floor.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Number 19 SMU against Tulsa.
Oh, that's SMU. I'm sorry. I got preoccupied with a moment. So, no, I'm going to go with SMU. I do believe they'll win this game. So, 1 game left, you said. So, let's get it.
Yep. And it's the ABC Saturday night game of the week. The number 13 Wisconsin Badgers squaring off against the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan Stadium in the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan. On ABC, Saturday night game of the week. You know who's working it. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. Wisconsin opening up as a 4-point favorite. MF, I mean, some time ago, this was definitely a big game, but because of Michigan's recent struggles, this game has lost a lot of luster. And even though you're at home, you got Wisconsin coming in. Ooh, I don't know, man.
Not an easy game. Not an easy game at all. And I'm going to say it. Harbaugh's got to win this game. Michigan's got to win this game, or I think Harbaugh's days is going to be numbered. I was not happy with the way that they played last week against Indiana, and I started to sound like Derek Ferreira. I was calling for Harbaugh to be fired. The drum will get louder if they lose to Wisconsin on Saturday night. If they lose to Wisconsin, that drum will get deafeningly loud. I got really nothing more to say. I think Wisconsin will win. It's going to be close, but Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, sorry, man. It's gonna have to be Wisconsin, I'm afraid. Michigan has surrendered back-to-back games of 300-plus passing yards and 3 touchdowns. That's just a massive concern as Graham Mertz in Wisconsin come to town. He threw 5 touchdowns in his first career start. Although the Badgers may start slowly following a 3-week layoff because of COVID, a reliable Wisconsin defense should hold off Michigan as Mertz and the offense settle into the game. I got Wisconsin, but I think Michigan will give them more of a game because it's at Michigan in the Big House. But I think Wisconsin will leave the Big House and steal one here. My final score 27-20. Wisconsin knocks off Michigan. So really nothing more to say there. That will put the bow on this Week 11 edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. Next week we got some great matchups for you. Next week, starting off with some great action here: Indiana and Ohio State next week. Oh my, that's a big one there. We also have the Bedlam game. Yes, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma in the ABC Saturday night game of the week. We got that to look forward to. Also, Coastal Carolina, their biggest test to date, Appalachian State. That is not going to be easy at all. And we also have Wisconsin squaring off against Northwestern. That's another big game there. Kansas State against Iowa State. Liberty squaring off against North Carolina State. And Auburn back in the polls. They're squaring off against Tennessee, and USC squaring off against Utah. So many great games next week. But Indiana, Ohio State, I think that's the game of the week, although you can make an argument for App State and Coastal Carolina, and the Bedlam game with Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. So, man, that's going to be fun next week. Some great action next week. Can't wait to get into it. So that'll be next week on this program, but we'll next be with you tomorrow night. We'll be over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown as we continue on the road to the Survivor Series. We're getting closer. Saturday night, we'll be back in our normal time for NFL Saturday. Some a unique schedule, some unique a unique week to say the very least. I'll explain when we get to it. And then Monday, we kick off Survivor Series week with Ridiculously Raw. We'll be reviewing the Go Home show for Monday Night Raw for the Survivor Series. My Tony's take on 205 on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. Wednesday night, MF will have Wednesday Night Mayhem as we'll review AEW Dynamite and NXT. Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, women's title on the line, the biggest women's match in NXT history. And then this program next week. And there you go. So that'll do it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, it's Anthony Florio here, signing off from my elite panel. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson, and always in forever, FKG 401, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine as always. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, keep it watching Week 11 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, if they play so long, bye, everybody, bye.